everyone, I'm Sandy Caldwell and welcome to the 5th episode of the Quilt Cabana Corner Videocast. I hope that you've had a chance to view some of the episodes that are up on YouTube and also to check out my podcast and my website. So on today's episode, we're going to be looking at the June 2012 issue of the Quilt Life magazine. We're going to take a look at what I'm working on at the cutting table. And we're also going to take a quick look at this book, which I purchased last week, called Girl's World of Doodles, Amazing Full Color Pictures. This is a book for those of us who wish to improve our doodling skills, which will then translate to maybe some more interesting quilts for some of us. So first off, I wanted to say that I went on the Clover website. Hopefully you recall that we were reviewing the Choco Liner a few episodes ago, and we found it very hard to actually get the Choco Liner out of the fabric. So on the Clover website, I did a little research, and I just want to read you what they say for directions for how to get the Choco Liner out of your fabric. And it says, we recommend pre-washing the fabric before using the Choco Liner. We recommend testing it on a piece of fabric before marking. Try to remove the Choco Liner by washing the fabric. You need to use 5 parts of water, 2 parts of vinegar, and let it air dry. It says do not put it in the dryer. If the problem persists, consult a professional fabric cleaner. Try professional oil-based stain remover. Some solvent is sprayed on stains from the front side, and the fabric is vacuumed from the back side. Professional service is rarely required because this may damage fabric if not done with the right tools. Also, just dry cleaning makes the marks permanent. So that is pretty much Clover's answer to how you remove the Choco Liner, and I just wanted to pass that along in case you really do need to remove it. You can try this vinegar solution that they've got. Okay, one more thing that I wanted to show you a little later in the episode is an art project that my daughter was working on. It's something that she saw online that she wanted to try, and I have a little bit of a noisy clip for when she's doing it because it involved a hairdryer. But I will show you the piece of artwork coming up, and then you can see how she accomplished it. It's really kind of cool and something you might want to try with your kids maybe this summer. So let's take a walk over to the cutting table and see what's happening over there. Okay, so here's the cutting table, and this is what I've been working on this week. I'm working on my fusoscope, and this one has 4 kaleidoscopes on it. I've completed the fusing on 3 out of the 4, and as you can see, I need to do 1 more. So that's what I'll be concentrating on this week. So for this week's magazine roundup, I have the Quilt Life June 2012 issue, and this is Ricky Timms and Alex Anderson's magazine. And this is an interesting magazine because there aren't so many patterns in it as opposed to the articles. Usually the magazine has a theme for the month, and this month it was about teaching. So all the articles revolve around that theme, and I think there were only 2 projects in the book. So there's not a lot of fluff. It's really, you have to take your time to read this magazine because you don't want to really miss what they're saying because everything in it is really, really interesting. And actually it says right there, it's more than making quilts, and in this magazine it really is. So for the first item in the magazine that caught my eye was the fact that it is all about teaching. This article was written by Libby Lehman, and she's talking about top teachers and what it is that they have that we're drawn to. So she says top teachers know their subjects, they adapt, they go beyond the curriculum, and they're passionate. And on this top teachers adapt part, she cites that Ginny Beyer once walked into a hands-on class with a limit of 25 people and discovered that there were 80 students sitting there. Jean Ray Laurie's suitcases went to Palm Beach instead of Palm Springs, and each of these ladies dealt with the situation with charm and grace. So she has a few little examples of what she means by her topics here. Next, they actually included 2 recipes this month. One is Alex's recipe and one is Ricky's. And Alex's is Joan's curry chicken salad, and I believe that's Joan Wolfram who she's talking about. And Ricky has given a recipe for country buttermilk biscuits, and those look delicious. Another article that I found really interesting was about labyrinths. Now, I've seen labyrinths, but I didn't realize that you could make a quilt out of them. And also it says this woman who uses the labyrinth quilts, she says, I work alongside women in recovery from addictions, eating disorders, and trauma. I use the quilt as a visual and tactile metaphor for the heroic journey they are on to claim their lives back from these problems. Supposedly labyrinths contain energy, and when you follow the path and you walk to the center, you can feel positive energy around you. So this woman who wrote the article, her name is, well, actually it's Meg Cox who wrote it, but she's talking about quilts made by Laurel Reinhardt. So Laurel Reinhardt found that there isn't always a real life labyrinth around to walk through, and that sometimes you need something smaller that can give you the same benefit. So these are her labyrinth quilts, and she makes them in several different sizes, and she sells them to different hospitals and doctors' offices. So that was kind of an interesting thing. This little step out here says, people say a labyrinth has an energy, and you can pick it up by sitting in the center. So I've never been in one, I've never tried it, but it makes me quite interested to someday give that a try. And the next article was by Margaret Miller, and she's talking about how you train someone to teach quilting. She is the inventor of the angle play rulers in books, and she certifies her workshop. So she's come up with a workshop to teach, and then she teaches it to other people who she then certifies to go out and teach it on their own. And it was a very touching and interesting article. It says, are you thinking of setting out on the teaching circuit? Go for it. Giving your heart and soul along with hands-on instruction means success for all. So I thought that was a good article. And then there was also, I don't think I marked it, but maybe I can find it, an article about how Alex Anderson helped her daughter Adair's friend to make a t-shirt quilt. And Alex had never made one before, so she had to go ask questions and look things up and figure out the best way to teach this girl how to make a t-shirt quilt. And then she says not long after, the girl had taught someone else how to quilt. So it really is passing the torch along. And then they've got an article here on 10 tips for terrific t-shirt quilts. And I have made a t-shirt quilt before. I made one for the Relay for Life. And it was a fun experience to take all those t-shirts from the past, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 years they had worth, and to really narrow down which ones looked the best. Was I going to get them all the right size? Did I need to build them up with some fabric around the blocks, and so on and so forth. And it's fun to make a t-shirt quilt, and I think it really means a lot to the person who receives it. The one I made was raffled off. And here is Adair's friend making her t-shirt quilt. So that was, I think, it for this magazine. As I said, there's not a lot of fluff. It's just a lot of articles, and each article is well thought out and really, really good. And this magazine is put out from the American Quilters Society. So while I was at Joann's last week, I had a gift card that I received for Mother's Day. And after I picked up some fabric and some batting and different items I needed, I had a few dollars left, so I headed over to the book section, where I found Girl's World of Doodles, Amazing Full-Color Pictures, to Complete and Create. This is a wonderful book for those of us who never really doodled a lot, which I didn't. If you were to look back in my school notebooks, you wouldn't really see a lot of doodling. So I thought it would be helpful in my quilt making and designing if I could pick up some new doodling skills. So in this book, it has all these beautiful, amazing doodles that are half drawn. And the job of the person who's reading the book is to complete the doodle. You complete the doodles and then you can finish coloring them. I'm not too into the coloring them part. I just really want to increase, my little doodle skills. So here's a quick drive-by of the book. Hopefully you can see it well enough. And this book was one of many. There was a boys doodling book, a Halloween doodling book, one for house and home. I just happened to pick the girl one because I like that the best. And it more relates to the types of quilts that I make, so. plenty of doodles for everyone in this book. And there's one page in here with the little Russian dolls. I don't know if I've gone by it or not. So cute. But I'm looking forward to spending, I don't know, maybe even just 30 minutes out of my whole week. You know, maybe 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there. Just working on some new designs. This page is my favorite page. I can't wait to get to it. My kids thought the book was pretty neat too. So if you're looking to doodle, this book might be for you. Again, I found it at Joann's and it's $12.95 and I believe I used a coupon on it, so 40% off of that. So lots of doodles for everyone here. But now I want to show you my daughter Amanda's artwork. So stay tuned. Okay, so as promised, here's my daughter's piece of artwork. As I said before, it was something she saw on the internet that she wanted to try, so it's not her original idea, but it came out pretty nice and she had a fun time doing it. So after this, I'll show you the clip of her creating it, and it is a bit noisy because we had some neighborhood kids were over to watch her do it, and she had to use a hairdryer, so again, that made it a little noisy, but here it is. She is very much into photography right now. Her skills have greatly improved since she started, and she wanted to take a photo of this. This was her main thing. She wanted to create the piece of art and she wanted to take a photo of it. So here it is. We went to the store and she bought a canvas, and I believe this is an 11 by 14 canvas, and she bought a brand new pack of Crayola crayons, which I have to say, I was like, oh, you're going to ruin that box of crayons? And being more creative than I at that moment, she said, yes, Mom, but it's fine, and I'll pay for them myself. And that she did. So she hot glued the crayons to the canvas, and then she took it outside, at my insistence, with a hairdryer, and she blew the crayons with the hot air until they began their melting process. And this is what she came up with. So it was a fun process. She needed a piece of cardboard out there as well as the hairdryer, and she used the hot glue gun, but those were pretty much all the supplies that she needed. So anyways, enjoy the clip, and after that clip, I'll be back to say goodbye. Okay, so this is my daughter Amanda, and her project today is making a piece of art using a canvas and a pack of crayons that she hot glued to the canvas. That's my little neighbor Connor talking in the background. And now she's using a hairdryer to melt the wax of the crayon. And she's going to have a beautiful piece of art when she's done. So I hope you enjoyed the clip of Amanda doing her artwork, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of Quilt Cabana Corner. Please spread the word and let your friends know that this video cast is happening. I've been putting it out on Twitter and on Facebook, but if you have a social media that you prefer, please forward along the link to the YouTube videos so everyone else can enjoy it too, especially if you're finding it interesting. It's always nice to have someone recommend it. So I thank you again, and join me next Thursday. We'll have another episode with lots of fun quilty things in it, and I hope you get a lot done this week. And as always, you can find me at quiltcabanapatterns.com, and the blog is really what's updated a couple of times a week. So quiltcabanapatterns.com/blog, and I'd love to hear from you there too. Bye-bye. Have a great week.